If you think having $300 billion makes you the wealthiest man to ever walk the earth, modern marketing has fooled you. Today's titans are just children playing in a sandbox compared to the men we're about to see. Today we aren't talking about mere billionaires, we are talking about men who owned entire countries, religion, and time itself. Get ready because we are about to unearth fortunes that would make the central bank look like a ceramic piggy bank. These are the 10 richest men in history. At number 10, we have the architect of Amazon. Jeff Bezos accumulated a fortune of around $240 billion. It's an obscene figure for any mortal, but in this ranking, Jeff is basically middle class. He managed to digitize global consumption, building a logistical empire that reaches every corner of the planet. But even with his $500 million super yacht and mansions on every coast, his power doesn't even come close to the political and territorial influence of those who follow. Jeff has money, the others had the world. We travel to the year 1066. William didn't have a Swiss bank account. He had all of England. Upon his death, he left a fortune equivalent to $230 billion today. But the impressive thing isn't paper money. It's that he owned 100% of the land and resources of a rising kingdom. Imagine that every time someone grows an apple or builds a hut in an entire country, they owe you a share. If you wanted to live on his island, you had to pay him. Literally. His wealth was the land itself, and land never devalues. The last Nizam of Hyderabad had so much gold that his guests felt intimidated by the glow of his hallways. His fortune is estimated at $236 billion. He had a jewelry collection so vast it included the Jacob diamond, a gem the size of a chicken egg used simply to keep his papers from blowing away in the wind. He had his own currency, his own army, and a fleet of Rolls-Royces that would shame any modern collection. For him, luxury was not a lifestyle. It was a tool of control. Before algorithms and the cloud, real power was in steam and steel. Vanderbilt controlled the ships and then the railroads that allowed the United States to become a superpower. His $275 billion fortune wasn't just stock speculation, it was physical infrastructure. If you wanted to ship goods from one coast to the other, Vanderbilt collected a toll. He was the owner of movement. They say he was so ruthless he preferred to destroy his competition rather than buy it. A monopoly romantic. Forget Wall Street bankers in their designer suits. Jakob Fugger financed kings, emperors, and popes during the Renaissance. With a fortune of $400 billion, Fugger didn't just have money, he had divine influence. He could decide who won a war simply by turning off the credit tap or who sat on the throne of the Holy Roman Empire. In an era where the church controlled everything, Fugger controlled the church. He was, quite simply, the owner of European capital. At number 5, Andrew Carnegie. If Vanderbilt built America's veins, Carnegie built its bones. This Scottish immigrant controlled the steel industry at a time when the whole world was beginning to grow toward the sky. In 1901, he sold his company, Carnegie Steel, for $480 million. Sounds like a little today, right? But adjusted to current economic value, we're talking about over $460 billion. He spent the rest of his life giving his fortune away, convinced that to die rich was a moral failure. A noble philosophy, though I doubt many of us would complain about that kind of failure. John D. Rockefeller is the favorite villain or hero of capitalist history, depending on who you ask. His Standard Oil came to refine 90% of the oil in the United States. His fortune reached an adjusted $500 billion in modern inflation. He was the first billionaire of the modern era, and his last name remains the gold standard of generational wealth. He had so much power that the United States government had to break up his company for fear that he was more powerful than the state itself. Spoiler, he was. We enter the podium with the man who wants to retire on Mars. By early 2026, the astronomical valuations of Tesla, SpaceX, and his Starlink satellite network have pushed Elon Musk's net worth to a staggering $745 billion. It is the peak of the digital age and the largest private fortune ever recorded in modern times. Musk doesn't just have money, he has the ability to influence global geopolitics with just a click on his social network. However, despite his reusable rockets covering the sky and his underground tunnels, Elon is still in the junior league when compared to the two giants of the past who are about to appear on this list. At number 2, King Mansa Musa of Mali. In the 14th century, this man controlled the gold production of nearly half the known world. His fortune is estimated at around $415 billion, although historians admit it is essentially incalculable due to the scale of his assets. During his famous pilgrimage to Mecca, he carried a camel caravan that stretched as far as the eye could see, loaded with pure gold. He gave away so much precious metal to the poor in Egypt that he caused massive inflation, ruining the local economy for over a decade. Basically, he was so rich that being generous became an accidental weapon of economic destruction. Before the top 10, Henry Ford. He didn't just invent the assembly line, he accumulated 200 billion current dollars. Ford wasn't just selling cars, he was selling the American dream on an industrial scale. His wealth was as solid as the steel of his Model T, dominating the global market with absolute financial control for decades. Dictator Muammar Gaddafi takes our second mention. At his fall, he's estimated to have controlled over $210 billion in secret assets and gold. He wasn't just a leader, he owned his central bank. His wealth was so tied to oil that for him, the national treasury was his personal petty cash. Jakob Fugger was the banker who pulled the Renaissance strings. With capital today worth $221 billion, Fugger didn't just accumulate coins, he bought emperors' loyalty. He could fund wars and decide who ruled Europe simply by opening his vault. In an age of kings, he proved that the true sovereign is gold. Here he is, the occupant of the absolute throne, Augustus Caesar, the first emperor of Rome. His personal fortune is estimated at 4.6 trillion today's dollars. Unlike other leaders who managed the state's wealth, Augustus was the direct and personal owner of all of Egypt. He had the taxes of millions of citizens flowing directly into his private account and controlled an empire that represented 25% of the global GDP of his time. He could fund entire armies, build marble cities, and pay for festivals that lasted months, all out of his own pocket. No one in the entire history of our species has ever again concentrated so much financial power and asset control in a single hand. Augustus wasn't just rich, he was the financial system itself. If you've made it this far, I assume you possess the refined taste required to join our select minority. Admission to the club is free. Simply subscribe. Do it now. To make your mind your most valuable asset, I have personally selected these two valuable recommendations for you. Knowledge is the only luxury that pays no tax. See you at the top.